Mayor Newsom's very human vision and instinctive sense of what was right for the residents of San Francisco and California. Mayor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Dean Perschbacher. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Mr. Chancellor, to all the graduates, congratulations. To all friends and family that are here, congratulations to you as well. And I'm going to take this moment to congratulate myself because there are no protesters outside protesting my speech. Thank you. Unless you're here quietly protesting. Because the last time I was asked to do a commencement speech was at the University of San Francisco, and trust me, they were out in droves. So I appreciate the courage and conviction of the class of 2008 being willing to give me the opportunity to say a few words and to follow the eloquent words of Kathleen and Jennifer, and particularly Jennifer, who stole half my speech. So I'll have to, on the fly, reconnect with you in a different way. I am particularly appreciative because I recognize that San Francisco is often known as a city that marches to the beat of a different drum. I recognize that a lot of you have identified the city to reflect on the words that were said a number of years ago quite appropriately, that San Francisco is a 47.5 square mile city surrounded by reality. Think about that. And it is an interesting way to describe a city that is made up of dreamers and doers, a city of entrepreneurs, a city of innovators, a city that has always been on the leading and cutting edge of new ideas. And that's why it was such an extraordinary and exhilarating thing some 4 years ago, as the Dean reminded me, in January of 2004, to be sworn in by my father, who is familiar with this region, having served at the Superior Court up here in Auburn and Placer County, and then down at the California Court of Appeals for some 2 decades. And it was at that moment that I took the proverbial oath of office to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of California. No sooner did I do that than I got a call from Nancy Pelosi, then minority leader, who said, "We want to celebrate your victory in San Francisco by hosting a reception out in Washington, D.C. Would you come on back and we'll do that?" We were feted by then Senator Feinstein and Clinton and others. We had a wonderful reception, and that evening I was on my way back home when I got a call from now Speaker Pelosi's office. Said, "Well, if you want, we have an extra ticket to watch the President of the United States give his State of the Union, January 20th, 2004. In fact, it was her husband, Paul Pelosi, that had said, "I've been there, done that. I've seen plenty of these speeches. You can take my ticket." So I did that, and I was up there in the rafters, and I listened to the speech. Go back to that speech. It was an amazing speech. I don't mean to be too partisan, but it was a remarkable speech. He talked about abstinence. Fair enough. He talked about steroid abuse, and that got personal because of, well, I'm a Giants fan. He talked about issues about, I don't know, the speech went on, and then he got to the point, I think, of the speech, and that was the defense of marriage. And folks up there in the rafters, husband and wives of congressional leaders and senators and the like, were sitting there saying, "My gosh, what an extraordinary speech." And he got through, and it was clear to me at that moment that the President's private words that we had heard about, that had been rumored, the commitment to support a constitutional amendment to ban same-sex marriage, were now being made real. And it was when I was walking out of those extraordinary chambers that I heard from representatives, again, staff and spouses of the congressional leaders, about how exhilarating that speech was, that I felt I was living in a parallel universe. And I felt a great sense of responsibility, having been just newly sworn in as mayor of San Francisco, but I felt powerless. At the same time, I realized that I was mayor. And just maybe I can do something about this. Little did I know what would transpire. I came back home and I